Let's throw some jabs.
The fight starts now!
All right, Sergio. Well, according to Dana White, former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou is now a free agent. Ngannou was released from his UFC contract and is now free to sign with any promotion. And while Ngannou will be a sought-after fighter on the MMA circuit, he has long expressed interest in stepping in the boxing ring, with Tyson Fury publicly saying he wished to face Ngannou last year. Sergio, do you see Ngannou becoming a legitimate heavyweight boxing contender or another MMA fighter who proves to be in over his head?
Ngannou. I don't see him being successful as a heavyweight contender or even as a crossover one fight. Yeah, it will be a popular attraction for one fight, but he'll get slept, man. It's under 2 rounds by any top contender, let alone a heavyweight champion. If he steps in the ring with Tyson Fury, it'll be a 1-round max. Ngannou, old fighter, 36 years old. He probably can't take a real punch from a boxer because he's more of a wrestler, slamming type, punching guys on the octagon. He has no footwork, he has no head movement, he has no defense, probably can't take a shot, he has no rhythm, no punch anticipation. The few things that I watch on him is that he's big, he's strong, and he's intimidating. That doesn't work in boxing. We're sweet scientists on this side of the field. But if he wants to come over for one fight to go off into the sunset for a real payday, I'm all for it. He deserves it. He'll probably make more in one fight in boxing than he has in half a dozen fights in the UFC. So I'm all for it for a one and done. But do I see him having success in the long run? Hell no.
Yeah, I want to say a couple things about this. One, I believe Ngannou is doing the right thing walking away from UFC. I know Dana White said he was prepared to make him the highest paid heavyweight ever, but to become that, he was going to have to face a really difficult opponent in Jon Jones, who was widely regarded as one of, if not the greatest MMA fighter of all time. So it would have been high reward, but it would have been high risk. And as you point out, Ngannou's 36 years old. This is a time in his career that he wants to cash in. And I do think he's going to have the ability to cash in on some other MMA circuit by fighting in, say, the PFL or fighting in Bellator, 2 promotional entities that are likely to offer him tons of money to fight lower risk types of fights. Now, as far as boxing goes, no, I don't think Ngannou can become a heavyweight contender. I've watched some of his fights, watched some highlights of his fights in the last couple of days. He does have big time power, but if you can't execute those shots in the proper way, it really doesn't matter how much power you have. Top level boxers are not going to be caught with those types of shots. And as I've watched some of his fights, he does get a little bit gassed in the later rounds, and a good boxer will be able to drag fights out against him and take advantage of it towards the end. That being said, I do think there is a market for a one-off. I do think that Ngannou versus Tyson Fury is a pretty cool event if they can put it together. But first, Ngannou is going to have to reclaim his place in the spotlight. It's been over a year, almost a year, I should say, since he last fought in MMA. I want to see him go out and beat the top heavyweight in Bellator and beat the top heavyweight in PFL. Maybe go overseas and beat the top heavyweight on one of those circuits. And when he does, then I think you can market a fight against Tyson Fury later on in the year. And Tyson Fury, he's going to have some options out there. I mean, he's going to fight Alexander Usyk in the first quarter of this year. Maybe he goes on to something else in the middle part of it. But at the end of the year, a fight against Francis Ngannou is going to look very attractive to Tyson Fury. So for me, Ngannou, get back into the spotlight, into the big stage in MMA first, and then come over into the boxing ranks.
No, I disagree because time is not on Ngannou's side. He's 36 years old, and Father Time, it's not going to wait for him whether he crosses over and.
Yeah, but I'm not saying wait for like 2 years. I'm saying wait for like 9 months and fight, somebody of a lesser caliber on the PFL or Bellator stage.
Yeah, let lesser caliber for a lesser amount of money and say he loses that
He's
fight.
not going to make tons of money. I mean, I saw Bare Knuckle offer him like $3 million, like to fight somebody. Like he's going to have lucrative options. No, he's going to have lucrative options. And I think if he goes to the PFL and winds up working with Jake Paul down there, he's not going to get put in against a killer. He's going to be probably a heavy favorite in whoever he faces in Bellator or in PFL. So I just think it's his ability to regain momentum because he was white hot last January. Coming off his heavyweight title win, he was big. That's why we saw him in the ring with Tyson Fury. We said, wow, that could be a really fun fight. He's kind of lost some of that sizzle in the last 10 months or so. I think he needs to get it back.
I'll give you that one. I think PFL makes sense because now that Jake Paul is associated with that, the social media following and everything that he brings to the table, he can actually bring the numbers to an old great champion like Ngannou. Just like he brought eyeballs to women's boxing in Amanda Serrano and got her first seven-figure payday. So that one makes sense, the PFL. But other than that, no, I say go straight into a boxing event and get slaughtered by any top 10 boxer, let alone Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion. So those are his
He's not
options.
going to fight. He's not going to fight a top 10 boxer. Like, you're not going to see Ngannou take a tune-up fight at heavyweight because there's a high risk he's going to lose. He'd go straight into a fight against Tyson Fury, which, quite frankly, over in the UK, does big business. That probably sells out Wembley Stadium. That probably does a big number on pay-per-view. He's probably going to make well in excess of $10 million for that type of fight. So maybe it's not multiple fights, to your point. Maybe it's just one fight in the PFL, but I do think he needs at least one MMA fight before he gets into a boxing ring.
One fight with Jake Paul promoting you in the PFL and then go across the pond and get your beat down by Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champion. I think that makes perfect sense for Ngannou to go into the sunset with a pocket full of money and a smile on his face.
Yeah, he might get beat up, but he'll have a golden parachute on the way down.
That's right.